So when I was at school, I really liked maths and physics, but I also really liked art and textiles. And as I looked at university choices, because that's the route I went down for engineering, I found out that there are so many other types of engineering where you can encapsulate creativity with the more sciencey side. So I went down the product design engineering route, which allowed me to use that creativity I enjoyed to do innovative things with science.
So I chose to do engineering because I liked the idea that you can break the boundaries of what's possible. There's no sort of end of what you can do or what you can achieve. And surprisingly, I also liked the idea that I could be a minority in like a majority group, so that I could sort of prove that women can do things that men can, and to do things that are very technical.
So for me, I didn't actually start out wanting to be an engineer. I started out wanting to be a physicist. So all through school, degree, I did physics, especially astrophysics. That was my real kind of passion, was astrophysics. But then towards the end of my degree, I was doing a master's project, and I kind of thought a little bit, so what? Kind of, while I liked it, I was a bit stuck as to, well, what does this actually do? And so I kind of switched at that point across to engineering, to something that I could really use and make a difference in the world a bit more.
Growing up, I was quite curious, but I was also fortunate because I grew up with my uncles who were motor mechanics and civil engineers, and they always involved me because I was so curious to find out what they were doing. They were always fixing things. And at school, the subjects that I was better at were maths and sciences. So I think naturally, when I sought career advice, I was like, these are the things I like, and these are the subjects I've studied, which was maths, physics, and chemistry, and engineering. And at the time, obviously, females being a minority was something there, but then it was also the fact that when I did pursue studying engineering, I never looked back because it helped me with building on my curiosity and also on the subjects that I thoroughly enjoyed in school. And overall, I've really enjoyed the career because it's quite versatile in what you can do.
I came into engineering sort of by accident. I did maths, physics, chemistry at school, was good at maths, all that sort of stuff. Looked at what I wanted to do at university, kind of went, well, I don't think I want to do a pure science. Engineering. My brother did electrical engineering. I went, yeah, I don't want to do the same as my brother. What am I going to do? Ships. I like ships, and I chose to do naval architecture, which is not the same way as most people do that, but that's what I did. Not necessarily thinking I would always have a career in engineering, but actually because it was something I enjoyed. And I've been here ever since. But I have applied what I've learned in engineering across lots of different roles, which are inside and outside engineering, which I've found really useful.
So I got into engineering in some ways by accident because I started my university course in management science. I realised management science was not a career for me and quickly looked to go elsewhere, and engineering is what was on offer. Like the fact that you resolve, most engineers, no matter what it is, the aim is to resolve whatever problem it is. That brings an amount of teamwork, because it's irrespective of grades, irrespective of specialism, that teamwork has to work to resolve that problem. So that's absolutely one of the appeals at the minute. And I think it's the fact that generally problems when and the industry that we're working in, it is actually about trying to make the world a better place. And it is actually about trying to do right by the environment. So you've got great people to work with and you're trying to do the right thing all the time.
For me, engineering is about working with people who are diverse, sharing different experiences and coming up with innovative ideas, because we're all here to solve problems. But also, I know when I started my career, I did some reverse engineering. So sort of looking back to all those who paved the way and just seeing that evolution and how we've applied it and seeing it, how the impact it has in real life, for example, in the air industry, ship industry, submarines. And you can apply it to any situation, not just engineering, at home or in any extracurricular activities. So it's always a useful skill.
I think I'd probably say problem solving again. I think most engineers are problem solvers at heart. They're people who like to make things better. But also the breadth. So I myself, I work in a very kind of technical specialist role, but there are almost an infinite number of technical specialist type roles. There's an infinite number of types of engineers. So you can specialise, you can be a broad engineer, you can do lots of different things in your career. There's just so much out there that you can do all under the umbrella of engineering.
I like the kind of leading on from that, the different things you can do in your career, whether it's being quite hands-on or whether it's thinking of that bigger picture and how we can move those new exciting technologies forward. So when I was doing my PhD, I built laser systems to melt steel, which was really cool. But you know, nowadays I potentially look more at working with these deep specialists who can really look at a material, for instance, with things such as electron microscopes to tell us what's going on, and being able to work out how we can fit that into solving these bigger problems is something I've really enjoyed.
I've sort of gone through many different pathways of engineering. I did an apprenticeship and I've been to university, but I've been in this position now for a year, and I think the prospects really excite me. It's being able to travel, being able to talk to different people from different specialities. I love coming to work because I get to meet so many different people every day. I love sort of broadening my knowledge in like little things as I go about my day, just asking little questions that make a huge difference to my knowledge. And I think ultimately the thing for me is just sort of you grow your knowledge and your skill set with the time frame. So as we go into sort of like the next 10 years, my knowledge will grow with the knowledge that's in the next 10 years. I've sort of been to university and I'm learning what happened in the last 10 years, but my job helps teach me the things in the next 10 years, which I think is really cool. I think I would say not to listen to other people's opinions if they aren't necessarily the most supportive. As an engineer, and especially as a female engineer, I think we can often get sort of beaten down more than we get brought back up again. And I know it sounds like a really common thing to say, but I think it's really important that you have the mindset that you want to succeed. And you really have to sort of throw yourself in the deep end and go, I will succeed in this.
I'd say try and speak to some engineers, whether it's family members or friends, friends' parents, for instance, or other people you know, about what engineering actually is. Because before I started university, I wasn't completely sure I knew what engineering was, or even the different kinds of engineering. There's such a breadth of different types that there'll be ones that will really appeal to you and there'll be other types that don't at all. And I think working out if there is a route that's right to you and actually hearing about experience and what people do day to day is really important.
Yeah, I would say seek out opportunities. Now we've got the internet and we've got conferences. There's lots of information out there. There's apprenticeships that are offered by different companies, work experience, and mentorship schemes. So just find a channel that's easiest and accessible to yourself, and also know that if you start in one area, you can always adapt to different areas. So don't feel like you have to decide what kind of engineering that you would be interested in. But most importantly is go for it. It is not scary. I've enjoyed it. I've been out and about and I've been indoors. So you can really drive your career to where you want it to go.
My advice just, but generally is kind of the same as everyone else's, but just talk to people. In my experience, engineers tend to be a little bad at PR and at kind of a group level. But if you get find someone you can talk to one-on-one, get their advice, they're often a font of knowledge and can help you no end. If you haven't got those contacts easily, there's loads of ways of getting them online. Most people are quite approachable.
I think I'd say similar to what everyone else has said. I think follow your interests. Engineering is so broad that you can actually, you've probably got more career opportunities than any other type of area. So it's in your own gift, which I think is really quite unique. So yeah, follow your own interests and don't let people stop you.
Yeah, very true. I mean, I think for me, I've had quite a diverse career. I've done everything from deep technical engineering to working on bringing a first-class submarine out of Barrow to working with the army in Basra in Iraq. So, and all of that has been working for the MOD under having come in as an engineer and applying that theological mindset to everything. So coming in, as you say, follow your interest, follow where you think, but don't think you're pigeonholing yourself. You can go off and do multiple things.
I think the other really good thing about that is if you don't find the thing that you like first time around, there's so many different pathways to take.
Yes.
So I've realised that this job is what I really want to do, but before I had so many different ideas of what I wanted to do. I did them for a little bit and decided that that wasn't for me, and now I found what I really enjoy. And I think that opportunity is, not one to take for granted.
I would also just like to add to say, if, for example, you're not into maths, physics, etc., there are ways like apprenticeships where you can learn those practical skills. So there are different ways of learning. You don't have to necessarily be that person. And sometimes you get a job like through an apprenticeship, and then you can build up from your experience the qualifications as well that you need to succeed in your career.
As an apprentice, I sort of learnt the professional skills and the practical skills. And when I went to university, I learnt a lot of the theory. So I think if you can find sort of like a happy medium in between, you're really setting yourself up for a really good career. I have this extensive toolkit now from different experiences. And if you can get practical skills and theoretical skills, that really, really helps.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the new projects, definitely the next generation of submarine, being the Dreadnought class. I think that's a really big opportunity for a lot of people to get into the industry and for us to be part of something really, really cool.
I'm really excited for advanced manufacturing and new materials, new novel materials coming through. I think there's so much scope for us in the UK submarine domain to apply these things and for it to work really well and then eventually just become business as usual. So I'm really excited to see the development of that.
Well, for myself, it's hearing, the next generation of engineers, being excited about engineering, all the innovative ideas and technologies that are there today that weren't maybe readily available before, and how that's evolving and how that is also appealing to the next generation of engineers. It's also important to support each other, in engineering, so people don't feel like they're just left alone and you're expected to know the answer to everything on your own.
What I'm really seeing is the pace we're getting new technology in. And the fact that all of these technologies are coming in, we've got engineers working across all of them. There's all these exciting new things that will really make a difference to our programme.
I think I'd have to agree with that. I think there's so much coming that it's actually getting the people in the organisation ready and really taking the value from all of that. I think the challenge in that's immense.
My passion in terms of submarines, yes, is in terms of the engineering, yes, is in terms of sort of delivery of a real thing, but it's also about the support of the people on those boats and using AI to make things better and easier and decisions quicker.
But for me as well, I'd like to almost appeal to, people that can relate to me, the minorities, that don't be disheartened. If you don't see someone like you, be the first one. And, don't let anything limit you, just go for it.